federal judge who has long presided over NFL labor matters is as interested as everyone else to see how things will play out in the Tom Brady Deflategate case. U.S. District Judge David Doty apparently doesn't have much regard for NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell's understanding of the collective bargaining agreement. At a hearing Wednesday on a contempt motion filed by the NFL Players Association in the Adrian Peterson case, Doty said this: "We're all very curious," referring to how Judge Berman will rule on Brady. "I'm not sure the commissioner understands there is a CBA because Goodell lacks legal expertise. He doesn't understand contempt and only would have been acting on the advice of his attorneys on such matters." So those are Judge Doty's thoughts on Goodell. Where does his reputation stand now? Has it been helped or hurt by Deflategate, Skip?
Stephen A., let me start by saying Roger Goodell is very fortunate that the Deflategate case by Tom Brady didn't wind up in Judge Doty's court as the NFLPA initially tried to pull off. Remember, the NFL beat them to the punch, so it wound up in Manhattan court. But Judge Doty, no fan of Roger Goodell's. Now, back to Molly's question. An astonishing phenomenon has taken place, in my eyes, over the last couple of months. I think that the public perception has basically gone from, thank you, Roger Goodell, for busting that cheating, lying Tom Brady and putting him in his place, to, pendulum swings all the way the other way, wait a second, maybe Roger Goodell did try to frame Tom Brady to make himself look better. And as I keep telling you, Roger Goodell needed Tom Brady, needed to bust Tom Brady to take him down to improve and rebuild Goodell's image and his power and his reputation post-Ray Rice and all the other fiascos that the NFL, led by Roger Goodell, has experienced over the last few years and continue to experience. So, to me, this case of Roger Goodell's has taken such a public beating in Judge Berman's court in Manhattan that I think a lot of right-thinking, fairly open-minded NFL fans are sitting back saying, wait a second, Goodell, he's got no case. Judge Berman's basically poked holes right and left in the Wells report and in the way Goodell conducted the appeals process. And I think most fans, I'm just going on my emotion. Now, my emotions are on that side of the fence, but I think a whole lot of fans have come around to thinking Roger Goodell blew another one here. And Roger Goodell is in danger of really taking a precipitous fall if, in fact, Brady goes on. We don't know what's going to happen in Judge Berman's court, but if it goes on to the appeals court and somehow Tom Brady wins, he beats Roger Goodell. I've told you from the start, Tom Brady wants to take down Roger Goodell's reputation. If it costs him his job, so be it. Because Tom Brady believed that Roger Goodell has tried to cost Tom Brady his legacy and his reputation, both on and off the field. Cheater, liar. And in the end, we come full circle to a Judge Doty questioning how little the commissioner knows about the collective bargaining agreement. And then Jeffrey Kessler, obviously now representing both Tom Brady and Adrian Peterson. And the case right now in Judge Doty's court is an Adrian Peterson case. But it came to the point where, and I couldn't tell from the transcript if it was half kidding, that Judge Doty asked Jeffrey Kessler, well, are you looking for jail time here? Do you want to put the commissioner in jail? So it's come to that, even if it's a half kidding question. Obviously, Jeff Kessler said, no, we don't want that. We want this. They want their rights. He went on. But it's come to that Judge Doty would even throw that out in court, that he would question whether Roger Goodell is in contempt of court. Really? Wow. So I think the pendulum has swung back in favor of Tom Brady and against Roger Goodell.
My response to that is that I must confess to you, my man, my big brother from another mother, you are increasingly annoying to me, particularly when it comes to the whole Roger Goodell situation. The reason why is because it's all because of your emotion due to your affection for Tom Brady. At the end of the day, Doty religiously rules against the National Football League. He religiously rules in favor of a players' association. This is why the players' associations always try to get their cases heard in his court. That's his position. Fine. I'd like to know how many times his rulings against leagues have been overturned. Talk to me about that, and then we can have a real poignant discussion. Until that moment arrives, this is much ado about nothing. This is a particular judge who has a problem with professional sports leagues having the dominion that they have over players and their representation, meaning the Players Association, whether it would be the NBA, the NFL, etc., etc. That is the way that it goes. But in the event that the authority of the commissioner is usurped, the authority that is the Bible, that being the CBA, the Bible of sports, if that is usurped, if that language is ignored, if that language is shoved aside because of what people believe is an issue of fairness or whatever, well, then what happens when somebody comes forward in the future and they say, you know what, the draft is actually unfair? We don't like that either. We don't like the fact that a player can be drafted and a team can automatically have his rights, and he has to play in that respective city if he's going to play in this league until he's a free agent or whatever the case may be. Because in America, you should have the right to go where you want to go and work where you want to work and do blah, 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 blah. You know what? That's what a collective bargaining agreement nullifies and neutralizes. The fact that you don't get to make those arguments. That is the issue here. You keep bringing up Tom Brady's guilt or innocence. Most fans don't need Judge Doty to come forward and excoriate Roger Goodell in any way. They're doing it themselves because now that football season is almost here, everybody's siding with Tom Brady. It's not because they believe he's innocent or guilty. They don't care. They want to see one of the greatest quarterbacks play. They don't need Doty to come to that conclusion. They could care less. They want to see Tom Brady play. They believe that the NFL is embarrassing itself by allowing this case to drag on so long. Find the man, let him play so we can see him on Sundays. That's the belief of most fans. They don't even care about time. Not all of them. There's a few who care, but most fans don't care. So in the end, what this comes down to is that language in that CBA that bestows a certain level of power on the commissioner. Are you going to violate that language and usurp an authority that was negotiated for in a collective bargaining process or not? That's what this comes down to.
Time out. That's not what this comes down to.
Yes, it does.
By the way, let's rise above what Judge Doty said. He's not directly involved in this.
Exactly.
Let's talk about how Judge Berman in his court in Manhattan has excoriated the NFL and the commissioner, right? Made him look silly. So back to Molly's original question, has Deflategate helped or hurt the commissioner's reputation? Are you saying it helped it?
Of course, in the eyes of Joe Public, it may have hurt him, Skip.
May have?
But let me finish. It doesn't matter.
Oh,
he is
so
not.
Now the question doesn't matter.
Skip,
Your question doesn't matter. It's
Skip.
Okay.
I'm not joking, bro. I'm not joking.
I'm not joking
He is
either.
the commissioner. Well, don't interrupt me over that when I'm speaking about this. I am saying to you, it doesn't matter because he's the commissioner. The only thing that matters are the 32 owners. I don't know why you won't get that. If there was ever a case when Ray Rice hit his then fiance, Roger Goodell gave him 2 games. When everybody saw the video, if there was ever an argument for Roger Goodell to be fired, that was
Which
it
I
was
made
then.
at the time.
It was then. What happened? You even felt he should lose his job.
I did.
What happened within the same week? Robert Kraft, I think he's doing a fine job. Jerry Jones, I think he's doing a fine job. Richardson, the owner in Carolina, I think he's doing a fine job. The list went on. They don't care.
Yeah.
It's
Robert Kraft cares
32
now.
owners.
Yeah.
All they care about is this man doing the job of facilitating us getting paid.
Okay.
They made each owner got a check for $226 million.
Okay.
That's what they care about.
What you're sweeping under the carpet is that Roger Goodell picked on the wrong superstar quarterback. I keep telling you, he's going to fight this to the legal death, and I think he has a chance to win it. And if he does win, Pandora's box is going to fly open, and the owners are going to say, we look vulnerable in court now. And Roger, you did that. You took us down that path.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Because if they lose the case, the Pandora's box that gets opened is that everything about a CBA agreement, everything about a CBA agreement is challengeable. Once that happens, the floodgates open. That could be a cause to fire Roger Goodell. But in doing so, the courts are now risking. I'm talking about creating hell, because everything is going to be brought to the courts now if this happens. So think about what you're saying here, because I want you to understand.
I know full well what I'm saying.
If you get your wish, because it's clearly your wish, if you get your wish, then Tom Brady with Deflategate would have shattered history, American history,
that's correct,
as it pertains to collective bargaining agreements, and that will open the floodgates for everything. I am simply making the case against you. Not that I think that Tom Brady deserves the suspension. I'm simply saying to you, you're saying he's worth all of that as it pertains to American history and collective bargaining agreements. I'm saying to you, they're going to say no one's worth that. That's the argument that you and I have, that you're not getting. You keep giving me Tom Brady. I'm giving you decades of precedence on the part of the courts that's going to tell you no one man is worth that. Now, if he pulls this off, this is, this is unreal, because it would have been the greatest case on behalf of players in history. I'm telling you, it's not going to happen. I don't believe it's going to happen.
All right, we have to go to break, but before we go, I need you guys to clarify. So we think this helped or hurt Roger Goodell, Deflategate?
It hurts his reputation in terms of the public, but who cares, because the owners got his back. They got his back as long as he's making the money.
All right. Well, the timeline on this, the next important date is this Monday, where Judge Berman said if they have not settled Brady and Goodell, they will need to be in court. That's this Monday, August 31st. We'll keep you up to date. We move on.